It can take decades to build up your nest egg. And of course, when it comes to retirement, you don't want to crack that thing open and spend it unnecessarily. That's what we're going to be looking at in today's video. So I've seen a lot of people that have gotten into retirement and they have mortgages, they have credit card debt, they have really an itch to buy a brand new vehicle, spending $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 on a new truck, which accounted for about 50% of their retirement right off the bat, meaning it's going to be very difficult for the rest of the retirement years to go ahead and make that money really stretch until they are gone. Now, in today's video, we're going to be looking at 9 ways to unintentionally blow that retirement savings, which I have seen a lot of these. Starting with number 1, relying too heavily on annuities. Now, when it comes to annuities, they are a good investment to a certain point. So a lot of people like the annuities because they can get a regular paycheck. This, of course, is to supplement your Social Security. So when it comes to Social Security itself, it is meant to replace roughly 40% of your income, which means the other 40 to 60% of the income you need to get from someplace, and that is where a lot of annuities come in. Now, of course, with the fixed annuities, you are guaranteed a return, but you don't see a big growth because, of course, you are getting money back from that annuity if you're rolling it over. And of course, they're not going to go to zero. That is the reason when it comes to these annuities, a lot of people love them, but I've also seen a lot of places where they can invest in other essentially investment tools or vehicles that would make it a lot more beneficial. Looking at number 2, expensive hobbies. Like I said, when it comes to hobbies, looking at golf, that is one that I've seen a very expensive hobby. We had people that were spending about $70,000, $80,000 a year just golfing because, of course, when it comes to retirement, you have a lot more free time. And unfortunately, they didn't have the income to do it. So we got to the point where we had almost $150,000 of credit card debt. That's right, $150,000 in credit card debt because they had a very expensive hobby. This could be collecting cars. This could be a lot of different things. And you have to make sure that you're cutting down on your budget, or you know exactly what you're budgeting for when it comes to these expensive hobbies. Because again, when you get to the point of retirement, you have a lot more time on your hands, meaning you're going to have free time to do exactly what you want to. And of course, the hobbies have to be in check. Number 3, giving away too much money. This is another one that I see all of the time. When you're looking and building up that retirement plan, a lot of the money not only goes to you and is used for you, but a lot of it also goes intentionally to a lot of adult children, supporting people that should be well off on their own. But I have seen a lot of retirement savings, and especially going into charities, going into, children, going into grandchildren, that individuals are actually sacrificing their own personal retirement because they're giving away too much money to their family. And of course, this can be a big drain on your savings, where if you're taking some of those retirement savings, you're using it for your own personal needs, yet you're using some of those retirement savings and you're giving it away to other individuals, you can burn through it really, really fast without having a set budget, which of course can put your retirement at risk. Number 4, paying too much in whole life insurance premiums. When you start getting older, honestly, if you save properly, if you have your retirement savings, there's not a real big difference or not a big reason when it comes to life insurance itself. We know the day is going to come when we're going to pass, and if you plan properly, you got money in the retirement accounts to actually cover everything without having to carry a lot of the life insurance premiums. But if you are carrying them, even whole life, even term life, you have to know exactly what you're signing up for and what you're paying for, because some of these plans can get very expensive. You need to evaluate your insurance needs, see where your insurance and might be overlapping or you're overpaying, or looking at companies. When it comes to life insurance, it is a super competitive industry, meaning that you could actually take your money, look at your policy, maybe shop it around a couple of places. Make sure you do your research in this step because, of course, a lot of companies, again, being competitive, can actually offer you the same policy or even a higher policy for the same price. And of course, when it comes to whole life, if you're paying for this, it can get very expensive as well. Looking at number 5, paying high fees on your investments. So a lot of people don't realize or really have the realization that when you hit retirement age at, let's say, 65 or 67, 69, depending on what you're doing and how old you are, but when you get to retirement, it is not the point where all the retirement accounts are closed, you get all the money. You want to essentially have your retirement accounts growing during retirement. You think, and again, for purposes, we'll use 65. So at the age of 65, you retire, 75, 85, possibly even 90, 95. So you're talking 20 to 30 years that you still have these investment accounts that can grow during retirement, meaning when you're taking money out of there, there's only a certain percentage. That is where originally the 4% rule came out, is using or taking 4% of your investment account every single year in supplement with that Social Security should be able to cover all of your costs. If not, you're not allocating it correctly. Now, of course, this is going to make a big difference on how much money you have. If you have $100,000 in there, 4% looks a lot different than if you're looking at $1 million or if you're looking at $3 to $5 million, and also evaluating what exactly you need on a month-to-month basis. This, of course, is going to be important when it comes to retirement, making sure you're budgeting for retirement and you know where the money is going. Now, of course, again, when you look at the multitude of investments, you are going to want some growth, but a lot of people are putting money into mutual funds, which mutual funds are good if you don't want to manage anything yourself. Index funds are the ones that I go to because, of course, when you look at index funds, when you look at mutual funds or when you look at financial advisors, chances are you're paying a 1.5%, possibly 2% fee. When you start looking over that same 20, 30-year time frame, that could eat up a very, very large chunk of that investment portfolio, where if you just allocated a little bit different, it would have made a big difference. Now, looking at number 6, not having inflation in mind. This is something, of course, that we've seen in 2023, even going into 2024, where inflation or really cost of goods has went through the roof. We have seen things like gas prices go up. We have seen eggs, even grocery store items that have went up a ton. In addition, we have seen rent go up a lot. We have seen mortgage rates go up a lot. And of course, these items are not fixed. They're variable, meaning your budget could really take a big hit if you see a lot of inflation and if you're buying products and services that are inflation. Even looking to pretty much get anything done, let's say maintenance to your home, service to your vehicle, the prices have exponentially increased. You know, a 2x, a 3x, a 5x. Some of those have even been crazy. Even looking at in-ground pools right now, our neighborhood, they're running about $100,000 to $120,000. That's right. For a lot of people, that is the cost of their entire house. And that is just the estimations that we got for getting a pool. So kind of crazy to think how expensive that it's gotten. Number 7, not having a longevity in mind. Now, again, this is one of the really big things. Life expectancy 50 years ago was the age of 71. Now it is looking at 81 plus. So we've gained over the last 50 years with the advancements in medical and technology, we have gained almost 10 years of longevity, which means you have another 10 years of expenses that are kind of added on there. You have to make sure that you're not burning through all of this money. And of course, for me, myself, we're planning for generational wealth, meaning there's going to be a point where if there are retirement funds that I am not using, they're going to go to the next generation and go to the grandkids and so on or so forth. So a lot of people also say bonds. Now, this is a point where I really don't agree with. They say your portfolio should have the same percentage of bonds as your age. So if I'm 65 years old, 65% of my portfolio should be in bonds, leaving just 35% in stock. Now, again, I really don't agree with the move going to bonds. I don't like bonds personally. I feel like you could have a lot more like the HD or a couple other investments that are going to yield you a little bit more income without having a really big risk downside. And of course, we know when you start looking at diversification, when you start looking at portfolios, you can build them incredibly well. But like we had said earlier, when it comes to longevity and having that in mind, you're going to have a multitude of years when you get to retirement that you can actually still be growing that portfolio. That way, if you do need the money, it is there. Number 8, having instruments incorrectly matched to your liabilities. Now, of course, this is making sure that you have everything kind of set, making sure you know exactly how you're going to utilize the money and also where it is going to be really allocated. Again, when it comes to the budgeting, when it comes to the strategy, you want to make sure that you're not buying these flashy big retirement purchases. Also, when you start looking at the liabilities, you have to make sure that you are eliminating liabilities. I see individuals that are going into retirement, again, having full mortgages. When you're going from a regular paycheck, a 40-hour work week where you're getting, incentives, you're getting bonuses, you're getting whatever it is you're getting out of there. Then you go to a fixed income like Social Security. You have to make sure that you are lowering your liabilities and essentially paying off and eliminating a lot of debt, which is the final one that we look at. When you look at retirement, I see a lot of retirees that are carrying a lot of credit card debt and of course, higher rate environment. we are seeing 25% on average when it comes to carrying debt. And according to the AARP debt survey, 75% of Americans over the age of 50 carry some sort of debt. And of those carrying debt, 60% carry credit card balances every single month, and a little under half owe at least $10,000 or more. So when you think about being retired and when you think about that fixed income, there is a big chunk of retirees that are carrying credit card debt and are carrying credit card debt on a regular basis, which again, thinking of Social Security to supplement that 40% of your income, having that credit card debt is going to be super expensive, and it can also be very, very detrimental when it comes to the retirement itself. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. 9 ways to unintentionally blow your retirement savings. Now, take these to heart if you're getting ready for retirement. And even if you're not in retirement, this is going to be your prep years, 10 years out. Let's say you're 55 looking at 65, or me personally, 45 looking at 50. You can clean everything up. You can get it all ready to make it a very, very smooth retirement. All right, guys, so again, that is going to do it for the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.